The authorities said they would come to reclaim this square. In the early hours of this morning, they came. The police used water cannon to try to force the protesters back. And then volley after volley of gas. The government's patience, they were told, has a limit. That patience with these protests just expired.
A few times I went to the police and tried to talk them and calm them down, but I think both sides are quite tense, as you can understand.
The Prime Minister now considers this an illegal uprising. His tolerance, he said today, was at an end. The police moved in while many of the protesters were sleeping, working their way up methodically from one corner of the square. Few here trust the police, and they moved out linking arms to try to hold their ground.
They don't believe them anymore. We saw policemen telling us, come to the streets, you don't have to be afraid, and then they shoot at us. So nobody believes them.
The police are using tear gas and water cannon now right up to the entrance of the park. They seem to be moving into the park, trying to force the protesters further back inside.
The police moved up the steps and into the camp, towards where hundreds of people are now living. This started as a small environmental protest to save this park from being turned into a shopping centre. It has become a symbol of their stand against their Prime Minister and what they see as his increasingly authoritarian rule.
The police have just cleared this section of the square. They've moved back up here. The protesters have filled in behind them. They're massing now around the water cannon vehicles. The police will let them up until a point, until they decide that that's enough, and they'll push them back down the square.
The protesters threw rocks and petrol bombs. At one point, one of the police vehicles was surrounded and set on fire. They had to use their own water cannon to put it out. We saw several officers with injuries to the head. The protesters have called for thousands to come here to help them defend their park. Neither side now is backing down, and the question is what happens next.